So these years we're in the middle of a crisis, but it's not really a crisis of migration, it's a crisis of migration policies. Today thousands of human beings are drowning in the Mediterranean, as we all know, and our governments choose to invest taxpayers' monies into borders and fences and into the military, into policing, instead of spending it on welcoming people. Not all citizens accept this. A lot of exiles are living in the streets and in camps in some of the most marginalised communities in Europe. So it can be in southern Europe, it can be in Calais, it can be in at the northernmost border of Schengen, in Kirkenes. It can be in the streets of Paris, close to one of the most touristy sites of Paris, close to the Sacré-Cœur and Montmartre. There's a lot of people sleeping rough on the streets. They count in thousands. And many of them are people who have come directly from the war zones in Syria, in the Horn of Africa. Some have come from northern European countries. We see a lot of minors who were unaccompanied minors who came to northern Europe, who came to Norway, Sweden, Denmark, who were taken in as long as they were not 18, as long as they were children. And just before they turn 18, often at age 17 and a half, they will know that they will be deported back to Afghanistan. So they go underground, they go back to Paris, because a lot of them came through Paris in the first place, and they live on the streets there, hoping that at some point they will get asylum or legalization. What we see is that a lot of movements of solidarity are actually happening in these very marginalized places, where people are often working class, often in really difficult economic circumstances, facing a lot of unemployment, are actually the ones who welcome refugees most. And that's also what we see in Paris. There's a lot of makeshift camps and people sleeping rough on the street for months and sometimes years. Who are helped by locals who live in some of the most poor areas of Paris, but that are very close to rich touristy sites like Montmartre and Sacré-Cœur. And these citizens offer clothing, tents, warm coffee, meals, and a lot of them are criminalized. It's become increasingly difficult to help exiles, and for the past 10 years we've seen a lot of cases where people who have helped migrants have been accused of helping, being close to human smugglers, if you wish. And so we see an increasing criminalization of this kind of solidarity.